Hey guys, this is Shauna here, and this rant is going to be on ableism, as you can see by the title. Now, I said I was going to do this rant in one of my videos a couple of weeks ago. I said that. So I'm finally doing it. Now, if you don't know what ableism is, it is basically a form of discrimination. Like, racism is like, prejudice against people of different races, or, favoring of, thinking your race is superior to others. And then, sexism is prejudice against the opposite sex, or, thinking your sex, whether you're a male or a female, is superior to the opposite sex. And then, ableism is basically prejudiced against people who have certain disabilities, and thinking able-bodied and neurotypical people are superior to people who are like disabled in some way, or are on the spectrum, things like that. And what do I think? I think it's fucking stupid. I think it's very heartless to discriminate against people who have a certain disability that they can't even help. Now, I don't have I don't have any physical disabilities, but I am diagnosed with neurofibromatosis type 1, and luckily in my case, it is not anywhere near as severe as a lot of cases are. But in my case, it does put me on the spectrum, and I have symptoms that go hand in hand with, autism and Asperger's. So, with that said, I do have, certain learning disabilities, and, it's also hard for me to socialize sometimes. Now, that isn't to say that, I never had friends in school. I did. Sometimes it's just hard to be the one to take the initiative to, go up to someone and introduce yourself, or to start up a conversation. Sometimes I did. Sometimes it worked out, but sometimes it didn't. A couple of reasons I was scared to do it was because, number one, that person could just ignore you, which has happened to me before, which is rude. And second of all, you never know when they're gonna, what mood they're in, or if they're busy. So that's two of the reasons why I was scared to socialize with people, when I was in school, or over the phone. But yeah, and most of the friends I have, some of my best friends I've met online, or at least ones that I I watch their YouTube videos and, comment on them, and they watch mine and comment on mine, A lot of those people are also on the spectrum like I am, whether they have autism or Asperger's or, some other diagnosis that with symptoms that puts them on the spectrum. Mm-hmm. And they're really nice people. We just we're like people who are neurotypical and not on the spectrum. We're also human, and it's not like we're bad people. I mean, sure, it's hard for us to socialize sometimes, but that doesn't make us that doesn't make us any less of a person than people who are not disabled in any way or are not on the spectrum. Now, I got lucky, with my school life, I went to school. I spent most of my school life in a small school, and that was in a small town, who, they knew what was a good school for me. They knew what school handled people like me, people with like special needs, or they knew what was a good school that would handle it a lot better than most schools. So luckily, I had a good reputation. A lot of people knew me. A lot of people saw me as the cheerful, happy girl. The cheerful, happy, funny, friendly girl. If I would have went to a different school, it could have been different, I could have been bullied to no end, and just thinking about that scares me. I know I'm done with school. I am done with school, but still, just thinking about what could have happened is really unsettling. I'm not saying all, but some people are just horrible. Some people are heartless, Why would you discriminate against someone just because they have a certain disability, or they're like on the spectrum or have special needs, People can't help that, People can't help that they have a certain disability. People who are on the spectrum or people with special needs, and even people with physical disabilities. Like I said, I don't have. Luckily, I may not have any physical disabilities, but still, it is horrible to discriminate against someone or bully someone just because they have a certain disability. Like I said, in my case, I'm on the spectrum. I'm a special needs person. People like us are just like people who aren't on the spectrum, people who are neurotypical. We're all human. We all have flaws. Nobody's perfect. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. We're all just trying, well, not all of us, but most of us are all just trying to get along. This world can already be a bad place to live in, thanks to all the discriminative people. Why make it worse? But yeah, I don't know what else to say. I just kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit and, talk about give a little bit of a backstory of what it's like for me to be on the spectrum. So yeah. Another reason why I heard another reason why people get hatred for being like autistic or having Asperger's or something along those lines is because I heard that some people who are on the spectrum can act weird sometimes, and I'll admit I'm one of those people. What is and that's really stupid as well. Why hate someone for being weird? It's good to be weird. Being normal is boring. Let people be goofy. Let people be themselves. Let people make others laugh. I love weird people, and I love being weird too, because, weird people make me laugh, and, and I love making other people laugh. Being weird is a beautiful thing, in my opinion. But, like I said, ableism is stupid, just like other forms of discrimination, We can't help what disabilities we have, Some people just have those weaknesses, It doesn't make us any less of a person, Just because some of us have certain disabilities, that doesn't make us bad people, We just tend to struggle with certain things. Some of the nicest people in the world have disabilities or are on the spectrum, like I said, I have neurofibromatosis type 1, which in my case, I share a lot of symptoms with people who are autistic and have Asperger's, and I've also met a lot of other people who share a lot of the same struggles and weaknesses as me. And, you know, they're really nice people. You know, people need to learn to give others a chance, you know. Just because someone's different or someone has certain weaknesses that you don't, you know, that doesn't make them bad people, and that doesn't mean you guys can't get along. I mean, yes, I do think it's important to, you know, be friends with people, you know, make friends with people who, you know, share the same interests as you, you know, has some of this, you know, likes, dislikes, you know, strengths, weaknesses, you know. It is important to, you know, find people who share some of those things with you, yes, but, you know, because that's what helps people to click, you know, when they have some similarities. But that doesn't mean that you can also be friends with people with different similarities or you know, and it's not like people with different, you know, assets, if you will. It's not like that can ruin a friendship between two people, because, you know, that's another thing. You know, I also have friends who, you know, aren't on the spectrum. You know, I have friends who have differing opinions from me, you know. I have friends who have different strengths and different weaknesses than me. It is possible. You know, it is possible. It just may take a little more effort, and sometimes no effort, you know. Like I said, just give people a chance, you know. There are some really nice people out there who are on the spectrum, like me and a lot of people and friends I've met, you know. You just gotta give them a chance to get to know them for who they are, you know. The world has enough hate with all this discrimination. Let's not make it worse. Let's try our hardest to get along with people. Alright guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.